Recently, Hasbro put up for pre-order the Cobra Ferret for the G.I. Joe Classified series. It looks very similar to the old 80s Cobra Ferret, and it comes with a driver this time. The price for that vehicle is $55. Now, some of you out there might not think that's a good price, while some of you are okay with it. Well, not too long ago, I found for about $25 on Amazon this Wildlife Hunter Suzuki Vincent Quad Runner. What's kind of interesting about this is it says it's 1/12 scale. So I'm hoping to try this out with my G.I. Joe Classified action figures to see just how well it works, plus get into this thing and actually see the quality of it. Up here in the top right corner, it does say realistic camo graphic, and it comes with a hunting rifle with quick case. So, you know, that's something. There's nothing really here on the side. We'll flip this thing all the way around, and you get a really cool little wildlife scene that you could cut out if you want to, but we're not here for that. We're here to get this thing open. So let's open it. So here's what comes in the box. You've got the main quad vehicle right here. You have a rifle case. You actually have a shotgun, which I didn't see coming, and you have a rifle with a scope, and finally you get this kind of janky looking bow with a bunch of arrows that are hooked together, and I don't think it's usable. I think all it's meant to do is just kind of sit up here and look pretty, because you can't take the arrows. They're not individual as far as I can tell. I think they pop off, but I don't know if that would actually be breaking it. And it's definitely not something that you can pull out, you know, pull the bow out or anything. So this is just to look the way it looks. So for now, we're going to set these accessories off to the side and take a peek here at the vehicle. So it rolls actually pretty good. I am a little concerned this front wheel does wiggle around just a little bit, but it rolls back and forth. Might kind of turn on you. We'll flip this thing around, and well, this wheel wiggles around too. You can't control the front wheels with the handlebars. They are pretty much stuck in place. It does have some shocks right there, so that's kind of cool. There's plenty of room to put some feet. You could put a figure here, and you probably can even have it hold the handlebars there. So, and I don't know if there's room for a second person or not, but you could slide this right there, or like right there. It goes in here somehow, I know. You can hook these. I don't know if you can actually hook them, or they just set back there to display, however you would like to do it. There's really nothing metal on here except for the springs are metal, and there's some metal screws. Everything else appears to be plastic. And so, I mean, when you roll it, it almost does kind of seem like it has, the way this front wheel wiggles around almost seems like it has a bit of a flat tire there. It does show that there's like a little winch, but that's all plastic and is absolutely not usable. So yeah, it's for display or to go with your action figures. So now I'm going to bring in a G.I. Joe figure, and real quick, I'm just going to point out that this looks really rather wide. We've got version 2 Firefly here, and I don't know, that looks a little bit wide to be setting him on. If you can see that. So, but I brought in here a Valkyrie, a female Valkyrie, because from what it looks like to me, the Ferret Scout figure is essentially a repainted Valkyrie, a gray Valkyrie. And so who better to test out this quad than a Valkyrie, right? So I set that there. Let's kind of start bending her into shape. Not quite sure what shape that's gonna be. So hey, look at that. She sits on it, I think, actually pretty well. I would say that we're not going to run into a problem of, is this too small? It looks like it's plenty big, and I've seen quads of different sizes, so I think you could actually get away with it being just about any size, and it would probably work. I'm already convinced that this will work just fine. She may have to stand up a bit. Trying to slide the hand. There we go. We got the left hand on. Now we're trying for the right hand. There we go. So she's definitely not sitting, but she's also here on her tiptoes, I just realized. So let's bring her feet forward. Let's bring her feet forward there just a little bit. So that pouch is kind of in the way. Bring her arms up a little bit. I mean, she's like, get the bell turned back around. She's a little bit closer, but I don't know. I've also seen some people actually ride kind of partially up. So while this might not be a super comfortable, sustainable position for long term, she's kind of on there. And, you know, for a display, that actually might work well. All you customizers out there can, you know, strip this thing down and paint it whatever color, apply whatever stickers or decals you want. But I think that actually looks kind of cool. So, you know, hey, could this be a replacement if you don't want to pay $55 for the Cobra Ferret? I mean, it's not exactly like a Cobra Ferret, but I mean, it's a quad vehicle. And you know what? You could get this in addition to the Cobra Ferret. All right, let's try Mr. Firefly version 2. We're gonna... Oh, bottom knees are kind of tight. We're going to bend up this figure. See what he looks like sitting down. Gonna tuck his toes in. We're gonna learn from the Valkyrie over there a few things. Maybe. I sure hope so. He's kind of in a weird little position there. So sit him down. Twist in his hands. And get this left hand twisted around too. I mean, he might be a little tall for the stretching. That could be where this thing might be just a tad too big, is being able to stretch the arms down to that. But you know what? He actually sits a lot better, I think, than she does. So maybe I just kind of had her put on here wrong in a poor way. I mean, he's also kind of hunched over. Let's straighten him back up. And I don't know, maybe you have to be a little hunched over. I don't think you have to be hunched over. I've never actually been a driver of a quad, so I don't really know the body mechanics of how all that works. But I don't think he actually looks too bad. I think that's... Whoa! The wheel stopped. Yeah, these wheels might be something to look into. Because that kind of stops once in a while. But you know what? Unless you're actually going to be out playing with this thing, if it's just going to be something on your shelf or on a display, then that's not too bad. Just kind of prop the wheels out a little bit, maybe stick something back up in here to hold the wheel out, and I actually think that doesn't look too bad. So that's if it's Cobra related. I'm just going to set him over there. Now we got Grunt. Let's try Grunt. I'm sure he's going to look pretty much the same as Firefly. I have no doubt of that. We're going to get him in that weird little position, tuck his toes up, and set him on. The reason I'm going with Grunt now is he's green, and this is camo green. And what do you think of the camo? What do you think of that camo? That's kind of interesting. I see like big leaves. That's what I see. There's like a big leaf. There's like a tree trunk that's bark. All right, man, Grunt looks like he's doing Pilates or something. No offense to anyone who does that. I've never done it. It just looks like he's in a really strange position to me. But anyway, let's get the hands on, the handlebars where they're supposed to be. And as of right now, initially he's kind of up there a little bit. So let's see about arranging the arms, body mechanics and all that. Working him, bring his head up. Yeah, it takes a while to get these people on quads, right? And the more I do that, the more I push down. So the more I push down, it could be kind of messing up these front wheels, maybe just a little bit, I'm not sure. But it does appear, it's quite the sitting squat. It does appear that possibly the distance between the feet and the legs might be holding up the bottom area a little bit. So maybe, let's try something here. Instead of using the double knee joint, let's just use the lower knee joint, and that might help him sit like a little bit better. So he's definitely touching the seat now. Slide that on. Get him there. Now, one of the problems is definitely going to be spreading the legs wide enough. So I think he's actually sitting about as well as he can be, just because of how wide the seat is. So I don't know if you're a customizer out there, if you can like trim down the seat a little bit or do something else. I need to look at a little bit closer at those Ferret pictures to see what kind of seat they have on it. I haven't actually looked at anything beyond like the promotional pictures. But that might be kind of, that'd be interesting to see, because it would definitely have to be a pretty narrow seat, because there is still a little bit of a gap there. But overall, you know, if you're just going to put this on a shelf, like I said before, I mean, he does look really kind of funny the way he's, I don't know, the way Grunt's holding himself there is a little funny looking. But, I don't know, I think that works pretty good, I mean, size-wise. So, let's get Firefly back out here. We'll set him off to the side. I want to see these rifles. Like, would these rifles work in their hands? Like, are these a good scale rifle? Getting him around the trigger there. Gonna pull his finger up a little. Let's see. I can get his finger into that trigger hole, but it wants to go behind the trigger. It may have to settle for that. So, get him standing up. Straighten him up. Man, you gotta be rough with Firefly here. Rotate the wrist, bend the elbow. So, you know, that's actually not a bad looking rifle size-wise, I don't think. I think that actually is pretty good. I mean, he can hold that thing, and, you know, it makes me kind of want more of like a Western 6-inch figure now. I think that actually looks really pretty nice, just holding it there. The only problem is you're going to have to, if you get something like this, you're going to need to get this finger in front of the trigger, because it is definitely not, it's going to probably bend and break it, and who knows, maybe you just pop that trigger off and don't worry about it at all, for those of you who care. All right, we got this, actually I said rifle, it's a shotgun. We have this rifle with scope, and that's the next thing I'm going to try in his hand. So yeah, sorry, I've been saying rifle, and it's a shotgun. So we got this. And I don't know if these figures are actually good enough. The classified figures are good enough to actually get it up high enough to look through the scope. Like he's actually hunting. Come on, trying to get around this strap. There we go. Trying to get around this strap. So that's about what I can get here. Just kind of fiddling around the camera, reaching around the camera and all. So certain figures just might be able to get it to where he's looking through that scope. He's not quite, but he kind of looks impressive standing there. I mean, he might look like a doofus, but he's also looking a little bit impressive. He's holding this thing actually a lot better than I thought he would. So I actually am impressed. I think this rifle looks pretty good as well. And it's got a strap, so let's see, what can we do with the strap? He's got his gear on, so that might be a problem, but let's see. I don't know if this strap, this plastic strap, is actually going to be big enough. Can we pop his head off? Yes, we can. We can pop it off. So, yeah, that's not going to work to like go across the shoulder or over the head. So like you could just put it over like the shoulder, kind of like that. And see what you think about that. So, I don't know. That kind of looks really funny to me, but you know, you could do that if you cared, if you wanted to. Now, the last thing I'm going to point out here is, just lay over here, Firefly. Stay over there, dude. There is this rifle case. I think it's a rifle, it's a gun case, and it does open up. Takes a little bit of work, but it does open up. And I was actually expecting to find a gun inside, so when I opened it up and there wasn't, I was like, oh man. But what's interesting is, I think this is like a rifle case. It looks like there's a place for the gun and like a scope and all that stuff. But this one that you'd expect doesn't fit in there because of the strap. That strap just hangs down. And I don't know if, let's see, can we tuck this thing up? I don't know if we can tuck this up. Maybe we can. No, the scope doesn't even really fit in there either. But this thing fits in there. The shotgun fits in there really well. And then you can shut it up and you've got a storage case for that shotgun. And who knows, maybe this little case would work for like a classified or an action force weapon. You know, you could use this with one of your figures, because then, like, say you get Firefly here, or anybody really. You can put like a little Cobra logo if you want to. And he's not holding this real well just because I'm using a trigger finger based hand, which I think kind of lets it loose. Like lean forward a little bit. Come on, Firefly, stand up. There we go. But he could hold it, and they can hold it. So maybe an Action Force figure would be a better choice or something like this, because they've got the multiple hands. So maybe one of the hands that would just have a grip. But I think that looks kind of cool, kind of interesting. And this, as I mentioned earlier, this thing, well, pretty much is worthless to me. Might be worthless to you too. At that point, yeah, let's just... Okay, so when you take this bundle, I'm not even going to call it a quiver, because it's not really a quiver. It's just a pile of arrows hooked on the side here. When you take it off, this is what you're left with. And it looks like an unfinished... I mean, I don't know what bows look like a whole lot, but it looks like an unfinished bow of some sort. I mean, the strings, the cord, the wire, whatever. I'm used to string back in the day. But they're not even like... They're all bent up. They look bad. So you can't pull any of these arrows out to use. They just are there. And I think, if I remember right, when I pulled this thing out of the package, this was just like hooked to there. Just hooked to the front there as a display thing. So it probably is where it's going to stay. And these things, like, hook into this quad here somehow. Maybe like that. And then this one can go back here. Something like that. And look at that. Firefly lost his head. He's so excited over this quad, he lost his head. So I think this is actually really pretty cool. This is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I mean, yes, it's for about $25. This is about the quality I expected, but this is actually a little bit better than I expected. So the wonky front wheels, yeah, okay. But everything else seems to be pretty good, pretty solid. I mean, if you throw this against the wall, it's going to break. And so why would you pay $25 for something you're going to throw against the wall, right? So I think this is pretty good. So all you customizers out there, you might have an option. If you're not interested in buying that Cobra Ferret, you might have a pretty decent option for a custom quad here. And you could make it Crimson, you could make it G.I. Joe. I mean, it's kind of already G.I. Joe with the camo on there. Like, but you could make it a Tiger Force version, a Night Force. You could do all sorts of things probably with this. And I think this is a really neat little quad, and it's a whole lot better than some of the motorcycles I bought from that company that I can't remember the name of before and I looked at. But I think this is a winner. For $25, I think this is a really good winner. Add another $25, it's $50. Okay, maybe it's getting up there to about the same price as the other thing, but you already got a bunch of figures. You don't need to buy a separate figure for this. I think this is pretty awesome. So anyway, thank you for watching. Appreciate you stopping by. I will see you next time.